Welcome to Frontier Wrestling as you join me, Mark Priest, for another 30 minutes of action-packed wrestling action. There in the ring we see Jorge Castano, one half of the La Familia tag team. He's here in singles action tonight to take on the Wonder Kid, Jonny Storm. These two have a point to prove tonight. They want to get back into the reckoning in the All England rankings. Currently, Paul Travell is the champion, and he's declared that he will take on all comers. These two would certainly like to be one of those challengers. Let's see if they can get it done in the squared circle tonight. So it's Jorge Castano versus Jonny Storm for a place to move up the rankings in the All England division here in the FWA. These two know each other very well. For the past 5 or 6 years, they've butted heads all over the country. Sometimes on opposite sides, sometimes on the same side, but always as rivals, always fighting each other to see which one can make more impact in the British wrestling business. Jonny taking it to the corner there. They're locked up. He pulls away. Sometimes the most simple things are the most effective. And a slap. A slap by Jorge Castano. Talk about getting simple. That's about as simple as it comes. Tempted Hurricane Rider. And another slap. Jonny Storm dishing out some of the same medicine and following up with an arm drag. Another arm drag. A trip by Storm. Cover, only a 1 count. Another trip, a cover by Castano. A 1 count again. Nip up. These two men know each other so well. I said earlier how they've been butting heads for the past 5 or 6 years. You can see that in that they know each other move for move for move. Jorge going to the outside now. He's taunting the crowd. He should keep his mind on the game. Here comes Jonny. A twisting chop off the top, taking Jorge Castano down onto the hard wooden floor. Jonny himself landed on the blue mat. Look at them, they're only an inch thick, but it would have taken some of the impact out. Jorge Castano, not so lucky. Also unlucky again in that he's sent flying over that steel barrier. That barrier's there to keep the crowd from invading the ring. And no, they're going into the crowd. Take it back to the ring, boys. You shouldn't be up there. This is well out of order. People could get hurt, and I don't just mean the wrestlers. But it looks like the only one getting hurt now is Jorge Castano. Jorge, of course, more famous for being in a tag team with his brother Alex. The tag team division, however, in a state of turmoil at the moment. We saw last week the New Breed fighting amongst themselves, now swollen to 3 members. It seems that 3 is indeed a crowd for the former company of the New Breed. Oh, sweet baby Jesus! Jorge Castano dumped on his head after a collision with the barrier. As I was saying, the New Breed, they're fighting amongst themselves, which leaves the tag division in somewhat of a quandary. So Jorge Castano, being the selfish Colombian that he is, has dropped his brother for this week and gone after personal glory. Standing in his way is Jonny Storm. Hurricane Rana by Jonny Storm, sending Jorge Castano down to the mat. Another attempt, but this time a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by the Colombian takes the Wonder Kid down, and now Castano poses to the crowd. This could cost him vital seconds. It could cost him a vital win against the Wonder Kid if he doesn't get back on his game. The Wonder Kid now hulking up, as we said in the 80s. Driven into the corner. Oh, a moonsault attempt once again caught, but no! Storm counters out. I don't think I need to say anything, and a drop kick adds more injury to the insult that George Castano suffered by having his private parts, his unmentionables, dumped on the top rope. The old switcheroo. Tope suicida by George Castano, a dive through the ropes onto Jonny Storm, knocking him into the ground. Both men collided with some force with those steel barriers. It's not called a suicide dive for nothing. George Castano must have suffered just as much punishment from that as Jonny Storm, but he's sucking it in. He's internalising the punishment on a nice roll through cradle for 1, 2. 2 count only, the referee signalling that it wasn't quite the 3 count that George Castano was looking for. Snapmare taking Jonny Storm down. Oh, brutal kick to the back of the head. Once again, just a 2 count. Jonny Storm is determined to pick up the win here. If he picks up a win, who knows where he could go next. Certainly, he would be one of the top contenders, perhaps even the number 1 or the number 2 contender for Paul Travell's title. But first, he needs to get that job done. He needs to beat George Castano. A reversal. Michinoku driver, taking George Castano down, slamming his back into the mat. And now Johnny needs to capitalise on this. Come on, Johnny, hit the man, hit him. But no, he's going to the top. Textbook moonsault, except the textbook on this occasion was written wrongly because George Castano wasn't there by the time Jonny Storm impacted with the mat. Had he been there, it would have been all over. But George Castano is a smart man, an evil man perhaps, a nasty man, a cheap man. He still owes me money, but he's a clever man, and he managed to get out of the way of that moonsault attempt by Jonny Storm. And now is Castano back in control. The slaps in the corner. He's showing no respect for his opponent here. He should know better. Beautiful leg capture suplex off the second rope by George Castano, driving Jonny Storm down into the hard mat. But only a 2 count again. Jonny Storm showing he has fight in abundance here tonight. The last time we saw him, he fought Doug Williams. That was an awesome match. He went down to the champion then. He was a late replacement, remember, for Jody Fleisch, who Williams had injured. But now he's up against George Castano. The men are matched a similar size, and that fight is coming through. And surely, I thought it was a 3 count there. The referee signalling to Jonny Storm that it was only a 2. He hadn't quite got the job done right, but I'm sure he will if he can keep this level of performance, this level of intensity up. And oh, is this Super Rewind Hurricane Rana? 1, 2, 3, it's all over. Jonny Storm has beaten his hated rival George Castano, his long-time adversary, to progress in the All England division. This will do wonders for his ranking, ladies and gentlemen. And he did it with that special move, that unique move that I like to call the Super Rewind Hurricane Rana. He may have been a little tired, his timing was perhaps off, but the result was the same. The move was executed, the 3 count secured. Jonny Storm picks up a win. Jonny Storm moves forward in the All England division. Next stop is surely Paul Travell, the champion.
Hey, all you swinging hepcats. This is Mark Priest, and when I like to get down at my funky parties, I like to listen to the music on FWA The Music Volume 1, exclusively available at fwamusic.co.uk.
Yeah, one of the subjects of old school, or should that be old fools? What it's going to be, as far as we know, there's only one member of the old school which is actually here. But There is another member that is... what's his name again? What? People that don't understand that man just said, Drew McDonald, he was talking in Drew's language, which is some language, but I don't know what it is.
Well, boys, don't give up the day job. I was stunned into silence by their poor jokes. And that music means only one thing. It means the Highlander from hell. Drew McDonald is on his way to the ring. What have you done, boys? Brandon Thomas, Ian De Silva, we saw you only a couple of weeks ago make your debut in the FWA. You were beaten from pillar to post by Alex Shane and Dino Scarlo, but you put up a fight. But now you've proven yourselves to be far too cocky, far too soon. Coming to the ring and calling out a monster like Drew McDonald. I mean, I'm sure you didn't even think he was in the building. That's the only explanation I can think of for you being stupid enough to make fun of that man there. Look at him. Look into his eyes. Look at the fire in those eyes. There is hatred burning in the soul of that man. And at the moment, that hatred is directed purely at you two. You poor boys.
Let me tell you something, moron. If the old school stops, you all are not going to be getting lucky, but only getting excited. And as for you two, coming out here, and kind of keep yourself over it. You school wrestlers. I'll tell you just what you're going to be. You're going to be you school garbage, just like the rest of them.
Boys, he's given you a chance. Escape, please. Don't even think about it. Please, no. Stupid boys. This is going to be a massacre. Join us after the break when we hope we've picked up all of the body parts. Welcome back to Frontier Wrestling as Drew McDonald surveys the scene of carnage, which if you pay attention to the retrocam picture-in-picture feature, you can see just what happened during the break.
It's your new school now. Crucified. Just like your stinking Nazarene God!
He's hung them out to dry, comparing them to Jesus on the cross.
Whether you like it or not! The old school is here to stay!
Drew McDonald is the Romans attempting to crucify the saviour of wrestling, the FWA. Dino Scarlo is Pontius Pilate. Where's this all going to end? What are they after? Log on to FrontierWrestling.com for all the latest updates in the FWA. Join in the discussion on the fan forum, find out all the latest news headlines, and see when we're coming to your area next. FrontierWrestling.com. We see in the ring Jody Fleisch and Scott Parker, two of the new school's finest exponents. Last week on this very show, we saw Jody Fleisch attacked out of nowhere by Dino Scalo, working over that arm with a cricket bat, really putting the pain to an already injured Fleisch.
Guys, the theme recently here in the FWA has been the whole old school, new school rivalry. Now, if there are two more greater exponents of the new school, then I couldn't name them.
He's certainly right there. The fans getting right behind them.
So what's your whole take on the old school, new school rivalry? Particularly with reference to Dino Scalo and Drew McDonald.
You know what? I'll let Scott take this one. I think he's got just one or two things to say about Drew McDonald.
The highlander from hell, Drew McDonald,
Decided to overstep the mark. I pinned him 1, 2, 3 after driving him through a table. Rather than take the defeat like a man, he and someone decided to take their pathetic, childish revenge out on me. Now, I don't know if any of you have taken a shot to the ribs and backside with a cricket bat, but I can assure you it's not that nice. Now, this particular someone who joined up with Drew McDonald, he doesn't seem to understand that... Johnny's trying to help me out here. This guy, we know who he is. I'm sure several of these people here know who this particular guy is. He seems to have a problem with the new school. Yeah, this someone came in and decided to attack me from behind. This someone is going to get their ass kicked faster than they can say, hey, that's my Zimmer frame. Please take it back out my ass.
He's talking about Dino.
Someone came. It's Dino Scalo.
Those are big words from Jody Fleisch, and yes, I thought as much. That music signals the arrival of Dino Scalo. You don't call out a man like Scalo without expecting him to turn up on your doorstep. Even his music disturbs me, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen just what this man is capable of over the past couple of weeks here on Frontier Wrestling. He's carved Ian De Silva into tiny pieces just a few weeks ago, and then followed it up by attacking Scott Parker and brutally driving the cricket bat into his ribs. That same cricket bat was then taken to Jody Fleisch, and you can see him. He's uncomfortable with that arm even now, and Dino Scalo knows it. You know, a great man by the name of John Gregory once said, you don't get people to respect you by being nice to them. And that is obviously a philosophy that Dino Scalo follows. He may not be the biggest man in the world, but he's very intimidating, because every step, every move, every gesture, every word carries an implicit threat of violent action. And when he threatens it, it's as good as a promise.
Stop the music!
Oh, Dino, I'm going to be a devil in my head. Listen, fat old bastard, take the mic. Tell me what you got to say.
It's near Christmas, so it's pantomime season. This is for a show. And these like a show.
Is that just the man?
I'm going to make one exception. I leave the talking to the Samaritans. I'll say one thing and one thing only. You can and France.
Dino appears to have lost it. He's babbling on. He He's talking in incoherent rhymes. The crowd really getting onto his case. They don't want him to be heard. I sometimes wonder if he wants to be heard himself.
Most of you think the smartest statement is a sandwich in the morning. Peasants! Scott Parker, you accept this challenge? You accept this challenge? You accept this new school challenge? Schools for learning. Look and learn! Look and learn!
Challenge? What kind of challenge is he talking about? There's been no challenge made. Oh my word! That's Steve Corino, the king of the old school, former ECW World Heavyweight Champion, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's a major player in the world of professional wrestling, and he's here. He's here tonight. I didn't know he was here. This isn't on my schedule. I can't see anything here. Steve Corino, what's he doing here? He's come all the way from the USA, and it looks like he's got something to say to Scott Parker and Jody Fleisch. Is he in league with Dino Scarlo?
Who asked you? Did I come out there and ask you what your opinion of old school was? No, I didn't. Sit down and shut up. Is this what you consider the new school? Is this the future of wrestling here? Well, God, strike me down now, because the wrestling industry is in a lot of trouble.
The man's right!
You see, old school wrestling, it doesn't suck, you suck. And according to your boyfriend, it was confirmed on the internet too. See, unlike the two guys left behind the ears, I'm a veteran. I know everything. You can give me any little lip, whether it's in Japanese, Mexican, Spanish, Puerto Rican, or American, and I can outdo you any day of the week. See, you are what's wrong with wrestling. See, fans of our era, they used to respect wrestling. It was a sport. It was a spectacle. There was a magic about it. Now, with people like you and people like you doing your stupid flips in the air. And you, oh boy, this guy, that's all I've been hearing. Oh, this guy's the best, this guy's the best. You know what? I'm the one that begged to come here. The FWA, they didn't want to bring you in. I begged to come here because I wanted to slap your face and I wanted to kick the crap out of you two. See, the old school represents a love for the sport of professional wrestling, not gymnastics and not whatever the hell you do either. See, I'm a wrestler. I've been beaten up by the best, and I've beaten up the best. Whether it was Dusty Rhodes, whether it was Just Incredible, whether it was Tommy Dreamer, whether it was the Sandman, I always got up. Do you have the guts to do that? Do you have the heart to do that? I don't think so, because nobody in the new school has any heart. Oh yeah, pound your chest, big man. Pound your chest, because you're going to be doing that a lot. You see why? Because to beat me, you got to kill me. And nobody's done it yet. Get ready, because I don't think there's going to be a murder in England. I think it's me running right over on you. And if you bring your little girlfriend, I'll shove her right up your ass.
That's the challenge that Dino Scarlo was talking about. Steve Corino, the king of the old school, multiple former world champion, has challenged Scott Parker, solid gold Scott Parker, the FWA's own Scott Parker, to a match. Will to accept. I can't believe he turned this down. This is momentous news. Join us next week for more Frontier Wrestling action.